I grew up really involved in the youth. I remember walking the aisle when I was 8 because my brother did it. My dad had a singing group called Workers for Christ. We did skits, they did puppets, did music. My mom had us singing in church since we were 4. Church was life. Like it was, it was just what we did. Like I would feel bad about something, then I'd go up and get saved again. D now or at a back to school rally or at a church camp, I would go, I'd get baptized, and then I would feel better for a day. 2002, got married. When I went to Jones, we'd go to church. Brandy got saved, and I walked out too. I was like, well, I need to get it too. My girl's getting it, and I need to get it again. Got out of college, started working, moved back to Harrisville, and just started trying to figure out where we were going to go to church. And so we were at a church, just joined probably 2 months earlier. I started doing music, and me and Brandy started teaching the youth. I was leading worship at a revival at the church. And then I was sitting there on the second row like I do now, shaking, and Brandy's like, what is wrong with you? It just clicked. It was like, I don't know how else to describe it. God's like, you've been doing all this for me, and like it says in Matthew, I don't know who you are. You went to church camp all your life, you sang songs in church all your life, you've attempted to read the Bible all your life, you've tried to pray, all your life, but you haven't surrendered. It was funny, I walked down the aisle, because I'm supposed to, because I'm leading the invitation. So I walked down at the invitation, go to the preacher first, got done talking to the preacher, went up and led the invitation. And so I walk the aisle, I say, I've been playing church my whole life. Not meaning to. It wasn't like I was like being devious, twirling my mustache going, I'm fooling everybody. I was fooling myself. I was like, fooling my wife, fooling my mom, fooling my dad, fooling my friends. But I'm working with the youth. I'm the worship leader. I'm involved in church. I've always been involved in church. I should be a good Christian. As many times I've been baptized, I'm a squeaky clean. I remember getting baptized and this time. Pick one, the one when I was 8, the one when I was 12, the one when I was 14, one of those was bound to stick. I've grown up in church. I don't understand why I'm feeling like this. God had to break down all those barriers in my own life to go, you've done all this in my name, but I don't know you. I'm not the guy that was drunk in the bar that and immediately turned my life around, became an evangelist. I was literally doing the same thing I'm doing now. I was trying to live a Christian life, but it's kind of impossible when you don't have Christ in your Christian life. Everything on the outside didn't seem to change, but everything on the inside did. My motivations changed. Matthew 7, where he says, didn't I cast out demons in your name? Didn't I do this in your name? I said, you can put, didn't I go to church in your name? Didn't I go to D-Now's? Didn't I lead worship? Didn't I read my Bible? And he says, depart from me, for I never knew you. Everything about why I was doing what I was doing started shifting more toward because he's asked me to. You can come and do all the stuff. You can volunteer for Vacation Bible School. You can give money to whatever charity and functions, but if you don't personally have a relationship with Christ, then none of that means anything. It's almost like you're doing it to try to earn it. You don't do it to earn it. You do it when you got it to show that you have it. Here, while I was at County Line, I realized that, I haven't been ordained or anything. I've just been teaching, just been doing what I believe God's called me to do forever. I was doing it before I got saved, literally. I was doing it when I got saved, and I was doing it after I got saved. And Brandy said something. She was like, you know how baptism isn't what saves you, but it shows you're doing what God's called you to do. I was like, well, yeah. She's like, that's the same thing with getting ordained. I was ordained as a deacon, but I was like, well, that's enough, ain't it? Like no, if God's called you to do this, then you need to do it. In January of 2021, had a bad headache, ended up having a brain tumor. Right before surgery, Brandy's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, are you scared? And for the first time in my life, I wasn't scared of dying because I knew where I was going to go. Growing up, I remember waking up just running to my mom and dad's room, scared I was going to die. And I was terrified of where I was going to go. And I didn't know what that meant, because I'm like, I got saved, quote unquote, when I was 8. Why am I worried about it? I remember that being the first time that I was truly faced with, it was brain surgery. When she asked me while they were rolling me back, if this doesn't turn out the way we hope, are you okay? Do you know that you know where you're going? I said, I have not a shadow of doubt in my mind that if I shut my eyes here, I'll open them and see my Jesus. It's a cool, unearthly, bigger than you, bigger than me feeling to know when you're literally faced with a life and death situation, that you have the peace to know that no matter how it turns out, you're His. He'll never let you go. And before 2010, I couldn't say that. But things have not been perfect. We're human. I'm not saying God gave us everything that we thought we wanted ever since I got saved, because that's not how that works. But we had peace through it all. You hear a lot of testimonies about, how you were before you get saved. And I'm here to tell you, the aftermath is a lot sweeter than the before. It's like, I get to live for Christ now. I get to teach youth and adults. I get to lead worship. I get to sing praise music. I get to do all these things because of who He is in me. I'm not saying I'm perfect or saying I'm the best there is. I strive to be the best I can be, not because I'm trying to prove something, but because of the love God has for me and for what He's done for me. It's awesome to be used the way He has planned for you. Not everybody's called to the ministry, but everybody's called to ministry. Everybody's called to be a missionary in their homes, schools, their jobs, and we're all called to live life with Christ. When God's the center of it, that's the only way marriage, that's the only way families, that's the only way a church can function. It all starts with the love we have for Christ.